I'm back again today to do another lesson for you. Today we're going to focus on Waylon Jennings' I've Always Been Crazy. This is a classic tune, just classic, has that classic Waylon sound to it, so it's a really, really cool tune. This was a request from one of my patrons, Jason. I really appreciate this request, bud, and I appreciate your patience while I've been working on this for you. Just want to take a quick second here to say thank you. Thanks for watching this video and my other videos. Thanks for your continued support. Go ahead, if you haven't already done so, hit that subscribe button for me down below. There's also a link down below in the description box. If you click on that link, you'll find tabs to this lesson and a lot of my other lessons as well. And also you'll have access to some bonus content there as well. All right, so let's jump into the lesson. This song is in the key of A. And what I'm going to do today, I'm going to kind of show you the main melody and the main guitar riffs throughout the song and kind of how the finger picking or the hybrid picking part goes. I'm not going to go over the solos note for note. I'm just going to kind of give you some solo ideas. This is kind of one of those jam songs, which a lot of Waylon songs are. So I want to give you some ideas, and there's actually quite a few lick videos that I've already done over some licks that would fit in here. So let's dive into the lesson, all right? So we're going to start here. This song's in the key of A. So obviously we're starting on A here. There's going to be a number chart for this over on my Patreon page as well. Tabs and number chart for that over there. So this song really just has 3 chords to it. It has your A, which is your 1. Okay, it has your 4, which is your D. And then it has your 5, which is your E, but we're going to be playing an E7. Now there's a couple ways you can play an E7. You can do it like this. Okay. You can also do it like this. Or like that. We're really just, we gotta have this high, we gotta have this high D note here. I mean, the low D is cool, but to really get that sound, you want that high D ringing, which is what makes that an E7 chord. So, right? So that's what we're going to use. We're going to use that E7 like this. Okay? The picking pattern on A goes like this. Let me just kind of play it slow for you. Okay? That's what we're doing. And that's a bar of 4 right there. So it's 4 beats, you know. It's actually 2 bars of 4. So the first bar of 4, what we're doing here is we're literally just doing octaves here. So I'm playing the low A here, A string open. And one thing to note too, if you play your A chord with all 3 fingers like this, you're going to need to learn it. You're going to need to bar it with your first finger because you're going to be using your pinky. And I'm using my ring finger too. Okay, so if you don't already play A like this, please learn your A like this. It opens up so many possibilities for different chords and things. All that kind of stuff, okay? So another thing to note too, effects wise, you know, Waylon stuff, you hear a lot of phaser. I do have a little bit of a phaser on coming from my Line 6 M9. So that's where I'm getting my sound from. I'm not using a lot of effects. I'm using a little bit of slapback delay. No, I take that back. I'm actually not using any slapback delay. I'm just using a little bit of spring reverb. I'm using a little bit of phaser, and I'm using the light speed, the Greer light speed overdrive, just to give me a little bit of grit. Okay. Without the light speed, you get super clean. cool, that's fine, but I like just a little bit of push, you know. I kind of like that. So that's what I'm using for this, nothing else to it, okay? So let's jump in here. So the first bar we've got, I'm just playing this A chord here, and I'm mainly just picking the A string, D string, and the G string, okay? And then I'm alternating back and forth between the D and the G string. Right? Okay, and then I'm kind of just doing a little bit of I'm hitting that D and that G string again, but I'm using my pick this time. Okay, then I'm coming to the 3rd fret on the A string and pulling it down, doing a bend, back to our root A. So, and that's the first 4 bars, or the first 4 beats, sorry, the first 4 bar, 4 beat measure. All right, let's go to this second section here. So the second section, this is going to be the second part. This is your second bar of 4 beats here. Okay. This is going to alternate. So you're going to do the first measure, and then the second measure, and then you're going back to the first measure. You're going to alternate these back and forth. So that's kind of what they do on the record. So what we've got here, we're going to pick the A, the D, and the G string on the A chord here again. Okay. And then pick the D and the G, and then the D string while you're holding it down on the 2nd fret. And you got to keep the A barred while you do this bend. So you're coming over on the G string, 5th fret with your pinky. So, okay. You're pulling that down, 5th fret, just bending it down a little bit, like that, and then picking 2nd fret, G. So. Then you're doing a hammer-on. I'm doing a hammer-on from 2 to 4 on the D string, and then picking that 2nd fret G string, which is your A note, and then going back to your bass A. So, that's what I'm doing, okay? And when I combine those 2 riffs together, I have this. Just keep repeating those. Right? Okay, so we'll have 6 bars of that, I believe. So technically you'll do that whole riff there 3 times through, because it's 2 bars for each to get through that full riff. So 6 times through that. Or 6 bars of that, and then you go to 2 bars of your 4, which is your D. Okay, and to get to D, you're just going to do. Okay, that's all you're doing. All right, and for D, I do something probably a little different than the record. I can hear them doing a lick that goes. Let's see, I think it goes. I think that's what he's doing. I can specifically hear that lick in there. If you want to know that, that's just you're hammering on from open G to the 2nd fret of G. And then I'm doing a slide from 3 to 4 on the D string, picking 2nd fret, G string, and then a pull off from 3 to 2 to open on D. And then you can bend your A string. I think I tend to do something like that right there. It kind of combines that, but it gives a little more flair to it. That lick that I'm doing there, I'm just kind of pulling that D7 sound. I'm starting on the C, which is the flat 7 of the D chord. Which you can do that in this song. You can kind of pull out a D7 sound to make it sound cool. So all I'm doing there is I'm pulling off 1st fret, B string to open, picking G string 2nd fret, open G, so, and then pulling down on the 3rd fret D string, bending it a little bit back to our D chord. So, okay, and then you can do, you know, something like that. It really doesn't matter. Okay, I'll tab a lick out there for you, but it really doesn't matter. You can really just hold the D chord. You can do that right there if you'd like to. Just keep it simple. And that's something I want to talk about real quick. It's never a bad thing to keep it simple. Never. Especially on a gig. I mean, you don't want to clutter up the song with licks all throughout the song. I mean, I saw a guy play, and I can definitely tell he was an inexperienced player. He had some fast licks, and he played them really well. But you don't want to play fast licks through the whole song. You need to know where to step up and shine and play those licks, and where to back off. So playing simple is not a bad thing. Okay. All right, off that soapbox. So then we go to E, and we're doing this E7. So. And all I'm doing there is and you can hear I'm doing a little, and all he's doing is he's taking his E chord here, and his first finger is on the 1st fret G string, and he's pulling it off, or he's actually lifting it and then hammering it on. Okay, and I'm playing a regular E chord, and I'm putting the 7 here with my pinky. So you know, and it really doesn't matter. You just kind of have to find the groove. This is kind of the way I do it. Right, that's kind of how I do it. Now this is kind of an uneven amount of bars here. There's 6 bars of this chord as well. So I may do that right there. That's 1 full bar. I may do that for the first 4 bars. And I may do something like this the last 2 bars. Something like that, you know, just to get back to that A chord. There's a lick right there that you can use. So any of those open string licks will work for that, okay? So that's really the main kind of the structure of the song right there, is doing that chord progression. And you don't want to play too much. Keep it simple, but you can put some of those pull-offs and hammer-ons and those licks in there. Okay? All right, now what I want to do, let's jump to the solo, and let me just give you some solo ideas. All right, for our solo, so what I'm doing here, it starts, I'm going... You can clearly hear on the record they're kind of starting it like that. So what I'm doing, I'm actually moving from this A shape to this A shape. So it's your F chord just moved here. So you're playing out of your E shape. Right? So, but I'm using the bottom 3 strings of that. So I'm sliding in with my middle finger to the 6th fret G string, and then barring the 5th fret B and E string. And just playing around with those. Okay, and what I'm doing there to pull off, slide down, I'm sliding, this is just straight out of your A major scale, so which is, or your A major pentatonic. Right, A major pentatonic right there is what we're using, so. Alright, so, and then I'm coming down, I'm sliding down from 6 down to 4, and then doing a pull off to 2, and then playing 4, 2 on D, so, and then sliding back to that lick again, and this time I pull off, do the same slide down from 6 to 4, and then pull off to 2 on G, and then I come to 4 on D, and I land there, and I stay there, and then I go to 5 on D, and you can clearly hear that's the flat 7 of an A chord. So here's your A, that's That's a flat 7 note right there, which is a G note. So he's bringing out that flat, that 7, that flat 7 sound. So, okay. And all I'm doing there is I'm sliding to 4 to 5 on D, and then plugging the G string open, which is the same note. They're unison notes. I'm just kind of plucking those back and forth. Okay, and then coming down here and going, and that's 2 on D, open D, 3 on A string. You're going to bend it a little bit, and then back to our A chord. Okay, then I go back into that because there's 2 more bars of 1. So. I'm doing that pull off to get to the D chord, so, and all I'm doing there, pulling off on the G string from 4 to 2 to open, and then plucking the D string 3rd fret and bending it, and that gets me down to the D note for your D chord. Okay. Once again, when you get to this D chord, he's not really doing anything major, right? He's doing, actually I think the lick that I showed you earlier, that I talked about earlier, I think it's actually in the solo section of the, when he goes to the D there, or the 4. That little, that may actually be in the solo. But either way, that's the cool thing, is you can use some of the licks from the solo, you can use those as fills and stuff in between the vocals too. So, and that's another thing that goes along with playing simple, is you want to listen to the vocals and stay out of the way of the vocals. You don't want to be playing over the top of the vocals while they're singing, okay? So that's something else to listen for. You just got to really use your ears a lot, so especially when you're playing live. Okay, so for the solo, we got the A section down. Okay, we're going to D. You can use this same something like that. So the D section is only 2 bars, so you're in and out pretty quick on that. So going from the A section, D, you know, something like that right there. Or you can even do, I know I've showed you some of these double stops, so something like that. You can do something like that. You can stop here and then slide to that. And you're in E. You know, anything like that will work. And then there's a lick that literally I just posted over. It's actually over on my Patreon page only. It's one of my bonus quick licks that you get when you sign up for my Patreon. And it kind of goes like this. Straight out of your E minor pentatonic scale there. All right, going back into the A, going into the D. Like that right there. And if you want that lick, you guys that are part of my Patreon community, you'll see that lick. I'm already going to have it tabbed out for you, so it's going to be over my Patreon page. So, and then you're right back to your A, and there's only 2 bars of A, so you could even really go back into the riff to finish it out. You know, something like that right there. There's other licks. There's another lick. Like that right there. I may have done a lick over that. If not, I will. I'll do a lesson over that for you guys. But there's some really, really great ideas and some cool things that you can do here. A lot of open string licks too. Over the A or over the D, you got. That's a lick. in D, you can do it in A. You know. There it is in A. So that's some stuff you can do as well. And I've got lessons for most of these licks out there, I think, already. But that's just some great ideas that you can do. It's all chicken picking stuff. And you can mix major and minor pentatonic there. I think on the outro lick, outro solo section, over the A, I hear him do a, you know, something like that. That's totally out of the major or the minor pentatonic shape here. You know. All right, hope this has been helpful for you. Just kind of give you an idea of what you can play and just some ideas on some riffs and some licks and things like that, okay? Once again, if you like this video, please go ahead and hit that subscribe button for me down below. I've got a lot more where this came from. Most of my newer videos that I've started since I started my Patreon a few months back, I've got tabs for those over on my Patreon page. So check those out. And I've got some cool bonus content over there as well, all right? Once again, thank you guys for the support, and I'll see you guys next time.